for something and you have to go in and unsubscribe in order for them to stop saving. So there's a idea that with people that have one in this room, of course, but someone that might annoy us, what you can do is say, you know what, I would like to stop my subscription with your issue. Okay, so you can say that next time mentally in your head, and it'll send that vibration out there. But so the thing is that, you know, there's the world of logic and reason, and there's the world of energy. And sometimes they're and sometimes they are not. And logic and reason can be twisted, right? We twist logic and reason to adjust to our way that we want it to, but you can't shift energy. Energy, and we know, and you know, that when you're with someone whose energy is right on and you're really synchronistically operating together, you feel that. And when you're in conflict with someone, you feel that energy is with you. It's a very real and palpable energy. And the deal is to know what's real for you and what isn't. And it's about trusting that energy. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was going to school, I didn't have a teacher that said, just trust your gut. Don't worry about all this logic stuff. Just trust your gut. No, indifferent said, oh, you've got to, logic and reason is the only thing that happens. But the thing is that the subtle shifts that happen in our life are when we pay attention to the energy that we're feeling. Hey, I'm not feeling so hotsy-totsy about this, or you know what, I really feel great about this. It's learning to trust your vibe and not what anybody else says. It's learning to trust your intuition. And remember that intuition is just the voice of God speaking to you. You know, how many times have you done this where you went, I should have listened to my instinct. It said don't do this, it said don't do that, it said don't go with this, or don't eat that food, do whatever, don't turn left instead of right, and we don't follow our instinct. But really trusting our gut is what this teaching is all about. It says that there are principles, there are practices, and there are methods to create the life that you want. And it really entails diving into that power that is within you. You know, Ernest Holmes has that famous saying, there's a power for good in the universe, but the most important part of it follows right after it says, and you can use it. Now you may be saying, yeah, there's a power for good in the universe, I get that. There's a God, there's a divine energy, okay, great. But we forget that we can use it. And somebody goes, but what does that mean, I can use? It means that the whole method, and by the way, we're going to have a little workshop today discussing the V, and the V is really, it is the formula to life. That V represents the life. And what it is it says, for every thought that I put out there, for all the energy that I put into that thought, and the belief that I put in that thought, it creates results. Now, when I don't get the results that I like, I can't turn around and blame that thing, or blame the sound microphone, or blame anything. It's like, what is it in me that is agreeing with the limitation of success? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes you're going around, so without faith and trust, nothing happens. You have to have a trust in the power. Life is not something that's separate from you. You may have once believed that, but what life is, it is the way that we are putting our energy, our request, our desire into the world, and it comes back to us in kind. Now you may say, well, wait a second. Stuff is happening in my life, and I didn't send any energy out like that. But maybe so many times we go on autopilot. We pretend, we go through life and don't pay attention to things, or we don't pay attention to, you know what, I need more rest today, or you know what, I shouldn't eat those foods, they give me a stomach ache, or you know what, when I'm with that person, I don't feel so validated. I don't feel so great around that person. Do I want to spend more time with that person or not? Whatever, paying attention to what's going on in the world is the way, it's the feedback to your life of what's working and what isn't. The most important part of the statement, again, is you could use it. We read about it. You know, there's a statement in the Bible, and it says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who they receive, everyone who seeks, they will find. And to him that knocks, the door is always open. And you go, well, wait a second. I can tell you a lot of times when the door wasn't open to me. However, at what was the state of mind in which you were to receive it? If it was conditional and said it has to be this, this, and this, or else get it, guess what? It doesn't show up because of the energy that you put in it. So whenever things are feeling limited, always look back at, where's my heart in this? What am I thinking about? Today, we're going to be dedicating the beautiful crepe tree to our Reverend Beverly. And think about it. She was a woman that she walked her truth to the extent of it, just like all of us. She walked her truth, and she led this center for 28 years. That's amazing. That's an amazing long time to do stuff and to put that energy into, to want to build this place and to build this community. But it's a time to acknowledge her, but it's also a time to release. It's a time to let go and take in the new. So we've got this new tree, which by the way is so cute. It's budding. It's got little buds on it. Nancy and I kept going, oh look, there's on the tree. And so it's to pay attention to what's the newness that's coming into life, that's wanting to wake you up. The other day, I walked out the front door, especially right now, you know, because it's spring. I love spring. There was a symphony on. I was like in a hurry racing my car, and I went, wait a minute. Every little bird had some new little melody, and everybody was singing along just great. They were going, hey, you're out of key, or you're out of harmony, or I don't like what you're singing. It was just pandemonium in a joyous way. I thought, wow, you know what? If humans could just learn to live like that. You know what, I'm not going to be with you because you don't like this, and you don't believe like I do, and you don't need I do. And I thought, oh my goodness, we're so judgmental. So I said to myself, it's a good time to deepen our practice. And what I said was, I'm practicing up my judgments and opinions about everything and just looking for the truth. I got to keep reminding myself of that too. I'm practicing giving up my judgments and opinions about everything and just looking for the truth. Now, though, so my truth may be different than yours, but there is the truth. There is a great truth that says, you know what? If we're going to subscribe to this teaching that says we're all one, that God is operating through each and every one of us uniquely as ourselves, if we're going to honor the space that everybody's in, I'm not going to damn anybody. I'm not going to say, you're not this, you're not that. I'm going to trust my vibes and say, what feeds my soul? But I'm not going to make them wrong. You feel the difference? You don't have to be with the things that you're not aligned with, but you don't have to make them wrong. You know what you do? You just bless for the highest and best. And the moment that you do that, you've let go of your judgment. Because guess what? Judgment about things, it holds us in a bind just as much as them. Right? We're never going to see them the same because they're in a bind. You know, I have friends right now that are out protesting Tesla. They're down in the South Bay and they wrote me, come join our protest. And I said, not a chance, not a chance. Because guess what? Like Mother Teresa makes a statement, give me people that are for something, not that are against something. So I'm going to do what I'm for, okay? And I understand my friends are diligent about this protest. God bless them. I'm not damning them for it. I'm not against them. I just said, you know what? Not my calling. My calling is saying for what you are for, and support it. And that's the energy that we put into things, right? There's the idea of Martha Beck, who was, she's a psychiatrist that worked with Oprah on the O magazine. Remember Oprah's O magazine? I love that magazine. And she always had these great articles in it. And she wrote a beautiful book called Following Your North Star. And so I was thinking about that this morning. I wasn't going to, but yeah, the North Star is no different than trusting our gut, following our vibes, right? And what it is the North Star, by the way, is known as Polaris, and it's special because it is a fixed position in the sky, aligns with the Earth's axis. And all sailors, etc., even travelers, they would use that North Star when they don't. Now we have gizmos that'll show us who and what and where. And we've got cars that's on the side of the head to tell us, recalculate and get going over here instead of. But at any rate, the North Star was what they used to align themselves with the direction that they wanted to go. Our North Star is our gut feeling. It is our own inner truth. And the way to get closer to that is to take time, spend time being with that still small voice. Take time to just sit and be and listen. You know, so many times we go to our higher self with a wish list. Oh, I need this and I need that and da-da-da-da-da. No, This is a time to just be quiet and say, I'm trusting in this power, and that power guides me at every step of my way, bringing me to my good, and I'm declaring that it's happening. It's not like, maybe the modality of prayer was maybe beseeching, oh God, please help me do this, and I will be a good person from here on out. Or, oh God, this is my wish. No. This teaching reminds us there are principles. There is a law of cause and effect. And that law is a law of God in action. It's the mind in action. Declare it with a complete conviction and a real sense of knowing. And that law operates on that word. Now, if the things that show up aren't to your liking, go back to the seed thought that you put out there and say, where is it that I need to change my focus? Where is it that I need to change my thinking? The best formula for creating the life you want to live is by acting in faith and trusting in that still small voice. These are things that I wrote at 5 o'clock, so I have to review them and go, what did I say? I never know. I just kind of type and go, I hope it's good. There you go. So people don't take the time to think about what fuels them. Have you taken time this week to say, passionate about? What really floats my boat? What makes me excited? And I would do more of that, Instead, a lot of times we have judgments about ourselves. I'm a lousy cook. I'm no good at math. I don't know how to do this. I stink at the computer. I don't know how to do it. This week, I learned 3 new things on the computer, things that I never thought that I could do. I'm like, oh, that's not so bad. I can do dit. And I thought, oh my goodness. And guess what? Because I said, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing, but God knows. And God, by means of being to create this thing in my experience, and I'm letting it flow into my experience. When was the last time you did that, right? Say you're cooking and you don't know how to do this, you're creative, and I'm sure Naomi has been through that where you go, okay, I don't have this, but I do have this, and maybe I can substitute it and fix it up, and bibbidi bobbidi boo, and there's the cake, right? Whatever it is. But sometimes we just have to be open and knowing that God knows. I don't know maybe, but God knows. And I'm going to trust in that vibe. I'm going to trust in that thing. So you ask yourself, what am I passionate about? What is it that's really calling to me? Remember, there's a quote I have here somewhere. Dostoevsky, a great philosopher. The mystery of human existence lies not in just staying alive, but in finding something to live for. You ask yourself this morning, what am I alive for? What floats my boat? What is making me feel alive? The universe is constantly calling us to love, to trust, to be the great good in the world that you came here to be. Very small. Not to, I don't want to do this, it'll look too arrogant, or I don't want to do this because of this. No, but not only that, it's to recognize in each other, to honor it in each other, like, wow, you're a great cook. Wow, you're really fun to be with. Oh my goodness. The other day I was talking to a friend on the phone, and I was grousing about something. And she goes, hello. Hello. You can rethink that. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Sometimes when we're going in that downward spiral, just tell yourself, I can rethink this. I don't have to feel this way. Is feeling affirming my life or pulling me down? And sometimes we're getting sucked into that quicksand. And you know how that is. You just go down and down and down. Have you ever been stuck in quicksand? I have. I'll never forget it. My brother has forgotten it, but he was the one that was going under. We were on a family trip in Michigan, and there was a bog outside the hotel we were in. And my brother was going to catch up for me. That was across the thing. And we thought it was just kind of whatever, just like the ground. So he steps in, and he starts to go down. Oh, no. And I'm like, Mom, Dad, Freddie's sinking into the earth. And like, yeah, okay, whatever. So they didn't pay attention. And he was really going down. So I jump in. What happens? I'm going down. So I'm trying to hang on to the grass. And I'm like, Mom, Dad. So they got us out. And I said, oh my goodness, isn't that sometimes what happens with life? We kind of go and have this experience of like, we go down that tunnel of negative begets negative, begets negative, begets negative, and then you're right? You're stuck. And what's the way out? You know what they say the way out is? Getting out of quicksand? To relax. And I'm like, ooh, that's the last thing I want to do. You want to struggle and get out of it. You relax. And the moment that you do, you create a space and the suction stops and you can get free. I have not tried that, but I have read that. And I'm like, okay, it's a perfect metaphor for life. Sometimes, do you ever get in a struggle about things and you're like, I'm going to really figure this out, and I'm going to let them have what for, I'm going to do this, and all of a sudden you go, no, you know what? I'm just going to stand in the presence of love and greatness that I came here to be, and I'm going to know it in them no matter what. And sometimes we have to know it for the other people when they're not knowing it for themselves. Did you ever notice that? And that's the greatest gift you can give someone. Be present to them for where they are and know, you know what? You're phenomenal. You're amazing. You are absolutely incredible. Did you say that to yourself this morning? All right, now you got to look at someone and go, you phenomenal. Hello, we're going to try, go look at someone next. Everybody's like, I don't know, someone. You are phenomenal. You are amazing.
You're phenomenal.
You're quite amazing. Okay, you're like, oh yeah, fat chance. I told you that story about fat chance, didn't I? I was in this class and we were all talking about, what do we want to create in our life? My friend goes, I want to lose about 50 pounds. So you were supposed to take a little picture of your head and find a svelte body and put your little head on that svelte body, put it on the refrigerator and look at it every day. Well, my friend was like, it's not working. I go, well, what are the affirmations? You look at that. She goes, I'm looking at it going, fat chance. What do you think happened? Of course. I'm like, knock it off. That's not what you're supposed to do. Come on, get with the program. And we got to remind ourselves all the time. Your little head on some svelte little idea of something you want to create. And just say, God, by means of me, is manifesting this absolute joyous response, right? Who knew that a printer was going to show up in my life? I mean, honestly, like running around like crazy and making these copies and doing all this stuff. And I go, man, we need a color printer. Any ideas? And he goes, I got a printer right there. Somebody dedicated it. Nobody needs it. I'm like, I'll take it. He's like, I don't even know if it's color. I go, I don't care. I'll take it. It's perfect. So I have it in my trunk. So how is your past? This was my question I wrote to myself. How has your past uniquely shaped your future? And I thought, there you go. You can look at your past sometime and go, bleh. You can go, oh yeah, okay. I was reading a story by Melody Beatty, a great author, and she was saying that she used to travel in Zion, New York, and every time she got to this one section, there was always, no matter if it was blue sky, cloudy, rainy, half sunny, half not, whatever, there was always a dark cloud over the spot. And she said it became a reminder to her, is like, is there a dark spot in your life? Is there one area that you go, like I wrote down, I'm a lousy cook. I can't do math. I had a teacher when I was young that said, you know what, don't even bother, says you cannot sing, right? And then people that tell you stuff or things you've taken on that you've accepted about yourself, that's that spot in your life. Just take a look at it this week. Just say, where's the dark spot in my life I feel so great about? Where's something that I have a judgment about myself, or I accepted a judgment that other people put on me and didn't rethink it and go, there's not a word of truth in that. There is not a word of truth in that. So think about things that from your past that you've carried with you, they cloud our gut feeling. They cloud those vibrations. They cloud those things that are our truth self coming out. They cloud that. So don't let them hang on to you. To change your limitation, her point was about that. It isn't about going out and being a better cook or learning math more or take voice lessons or whatever. What is the key? The key is to change your thinking about it. You don't even have to change the thing. Change the way you think about it. And the moment you release the things that have been oppressing you, it opens up yourself to, you know what? Maybe I can do this. I learned how to upload cloud recording via Zoom onto YouTube this week. And I'm like, oh God. At first I was like, man, I could never do that. How to do that? I'm like, you just go doink, 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 doink. And then you do it. I'm like, okay. Now, somebody gave me the instructions of how to do it, and sometimes instructions and you break out into hives, right? Because you go, oh, no, not in my scope of work here. Cannot do that. No, let it go and say, oh, this is a new thing I'm learning. So part of your assignment this week is learn something, challenge yourself to go, you know, I had a judgment about that. I'm going to let that go. It could be anything. It could be anything. Remember, the only opinion that matters is your own. The only opinion that matters is your own. Declare today that you're spiritually and follow your gut. We must dial into that presence, that divine essence that's at the very heart and soul of our being and say, where am I being led today? What are the great things that are longing to express through me, that I uniquely came here to express? Think about the book by Emmett Fox. Anybody aware of that book, Golden Key? And what he says, the whole nutshell is, take your mind off the problem and put your mind on God. And what do? That frees up the energy, right? Because a lot of times, I always get the picture of Pigpen, you know, with that dirt ball around him, dust ball around him, always like all this negative stuff. No. Calm that down and say, what is it today that God by means of me is expressing? So the golden key is always talking about your success. A lot of time with what our limitations are and say, oh, I'm stuck here, I'm stuck there. No. Just say, where is it that I'm open and receptive to receiving my good and expressing it? You with me on that? Okay, now let's affirm. There's only one life.
There's only one life.
And that life is God.
That life is God.
That life is my life.
That life is every moment.
I am filled with life. I am filled with light. I am filled with joy. Oh my God, we're getting a little dreary there. I
am filled with life.
I am filled with joy. I'm filled with enthusiasm. And I'm going to go out and make it a fabulous day.
And make it a fabulous
So
day.
it is.
Thank you, Reverend Mary.
And now our musical guest artist once again.